What's going on, everyone? As you can probably tell, I'm not in Virginia Beach right now. Our season ends in early October. Just checking out what's going on over here. Yeah, our season ends in early October, and we are back on the southeast coast of Florida. We'll be down here until May, probably mid-May next year. I decided I'm gonna do something a little different. Post a video going over all the frequently asked questions that I got this season, whether they came from my YouTube channel, in person, Facebook page. Got a ton of questions. I'm going to try to remember some of the ones that came up the most. I'm going to try to answer them. And I'm going to go for a little hike here. Just kind of very different scenery than Virginia Beach for sure. Mangroves and palm trees down here. A couple things before I start. And one of them is a question I got asked this summer, is are we going to do any sort of merch? And we decided that we are going to try to do a run of hoodies. Probably get that posted within the next week, and it's going to be like a pre-order type thing. Doing small batches of clothes, super expensive, so we'll do a pre-order, see if we can get at least 15 together. 20 would be better, and do what we can to get those ordered, shipped, and delivered by early November. That's kind of the timeline. I'm gonna give it a month from now. Today's October 11th, so figure a month from now you should have them at your door. Another thing to help out the channel, if you're interested, is YouTube memberships. I got a couple of those up there. I'll put a link in the description. You know, anybody who's willing to do that, super appreciative of that. And you know, we're gonna keep posting videos for sure. That comes to another question, is, you know, what's up with kayaking down here? And I don't do any kayaking in Florida. For the most part, I don't do any guiding in Florida. There's just really not much of a market for it. I know everybody thinks Florida is like this kayak fishing dream, but in the area we're in, I almost never even see people kayak fishing. You know, a handful of people a year is really all I see. There's a lot of water access down here. A lot of people have boats, and yeah, just the kayak fishing is not super popular here. So what do I do in the winter? You know, I do, for myself, I do a lot of spearfishing. That's really what my YouTube channel shifts towards in the fall and the winter. Is, you know, I'll spearfish for sheepshead. I do a lot of fishing from shore, from the jetties. You know, we'll catch sheepshead from shore, no problem down here. That's a lot easier than it is in Virginia Beach. And then, as you know, we have hundreds of species of fish down here. You can pretty much throw bait out and really have no idea what you're gonna hook until you reel it in. We catch a lot of snook, a lot of jacks, a lot of snappers, Unfortunately, a lot of catfish, which are saltwater catfish, are just kind of a pain more than anything. A lot of grunts, a couple different species of grunts that we catch, and pretty much it's almost endless. There's literally hundreds. So another question I get, if I'm not kayaking, am I still getting on the water? And that's yes. I use an inflatable paddleboard down here, and I use that to get out and spearfish. Do I fish from it? Occasionally. I might try a little more this year. It's not my favorite thing to do. It's more, if you're going to do it, backwaters, calm waters, no current. I may try a little bit more this year. Not really sure on that. Next most asked question is, are we coming back to Virginia Beach? And that's 100% yes. Short of something beyond our control, we have every plan of coming back. Yes, we'll be doing kayak trips. Yes, we'll be chasing big sheep's head. That's pretty much the niche we fell into. It's my favorite thing to fish for. It's my favorite thing to teach. We'll continue to offer, multi-species trips and reds and whatnot. But they're kind of, the big sheep's head trips are really what we focus on. It's what people want, and it's what we set our primary trip as. Another question I get a lot is how I end up with a different kayak every season, or what my thought process behind that is. And it's pretty simple. I do buy a new kayak every May, and I sell it every October. It seems to be kind of the best way to keep any value in the kayaks. At the end of a 5-month, 6-month season, the kayak's in still good shape. I'm able to sell it for a reasonable amount of money. Someone can get a really good deal on a kayak that still has a warranty, and I can get enough money back out of it to make it worth selling. I've found that if after 2 seasons, especially with them sitting in the sun all winter, by the end of the 2nd season, the kayak's so beat up, it's just not worth, it's not worth nearly as much as I can sell it for. And I do the same thing with the fish finders. I sell the entire setup at the end of the season. I buy new at the beginning of the season, and it gives me the opportunity to try something different every year, which also lets me, make better recommendations when people want to know what kayak they should get. I feel like if I have the ability to use all of the kayaks, I can give you a better opinion than if I've only used 3 kayaks. I'm getting eaten by mosquitoes down here. This is all, we're at king tides right now. So this is way, way higher than it ever normally is. So another question I get asked a lot is, how did I start guiding? And I started with friends and families, teaching people how to fish, and kind of realized I had a knack for it. and then we started part-time and moved up to full-time. So we've been full-time for 2 full seasons now. Next year will be our 3rd. We're anticipating we will do our 100th trip next year during the next season. So pretty big milestone for us. Things we're looking to change or improve upon in the next year or during the next season. We definitely want to get the trips a little more uniform and streamlined. In the past, we've done half-day and full-day trips, which were 3 or 6 hours. I think next year we're just gonna do straight 5-hour trips. You know, one flat price, one option. It's just to make things a little more consistent, a little easier to kind of keep track of everything. The half-day trips ended up being a little too short sometimes, and 6 hours were sometimes a little too much. So I think we're gonna go just kind of straight 5-hour trips. Location's gonna be weather dependent next year, but just the season's too short to give up fishing days. You know, we ran into a situation many times where the water was too rough to fish Bay Bridge, but more than calm enough to fish inshore, and we would end up giving up that day. So going into next year, you know, we're gonna try our best to fish Bay Bridge whenever possible, but we might just have to drop back to an inshore trip if it's still fishable. Now, obviously, if it's not fishable anywhere, then we have to reschedule. But I just don't want to give up good fishing days because there's just not enough of them in the season, especially because we really only get June until the end of September at best. You know, once kids go back to school and tourist season ends, I don't get a ton of bookings after that. So that's kind of the route we're going there. I do get a lot of questions on what kind of fishing rod, what kind of reel, what kind of kayak. You know, I've covered all that stuff. Most of that stuff is on my webpage, on the booking information. I've done a video specifically on the kayak, so I'm not going to get too much into that. I'm going to wrap this up. Hoodies are coming. Channel memberships are up. Comment. There's a link in the description. Comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff to help out the YouTube channel. I will be back in Virginia Beach in May. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoy the fishing from down here. It's going to be a lot of spear fishing for sure, a lot of shore fishing, and I'm going to really try to get out on the paddleboard and do some interesting stuff from that. But I appreciate you watching. Catch you on the next one.